Ant Chamberlain is undeniably one of the greatest when it comes to selling beats online. How is he able to take the game by storm after becoming a pioneer in YouTube beats and racking up placements with artists like Lil Baby, Tusi, YFN Lucci, and more? Ant Chamberlain grew up in Chicago but left when he was around 10. In his early years, he enjoyed playing basketball and attended Albany State for college. He was also involved in the band before arriving at high school. Ant played the drums and percussion elements. He says that this was a big party school and it was hard for him to focus on his schoolwork. Basketball practice and parties is where a lot of his time would be spent. After a semester in college, he was placed on academic probation and was told that he would get kicked out if he didn't get his GPA up. This influenced his decision to consider the military. So when he was around 19, he decided to join the military but shortly learned that he wouldn't enjoy it. He was there for about 4 years and left in 2018. Even while being in the military, he was able to start making beats in 2016. Ant says that he pulled up FL Studio one day after being inspired by Lex Luger and started off making drum patterns with no melody, and if only he had rage loops from y'all. Ant says that Future's album Purple Rain is what really made him say fuck it and start taking beats seriously. He would place himself in the housing room and crank out beats on a $10 Bluetooth speaker. He had to be awake at 4 a.m. every morning for work, but he would cook up until 12 despite getting off of work at 6 p.m. Yeah, this means he was running off like 3 to 4 hours of sleep for a while. So Ant says that if you have an excuse, fuck you, go make something happen. Luckily for Ant, he had a friend that would freestyle on what he calls his sorry beats. This would keep him motivated. He would also watch some YouTube tutorials here and there that were out at the time. This is where he started to put in his reps and really start creating his own sound. One of his first successes on YouTube was a Future type beat that he dropped. This would be one of his first beats to reach 10 to 20,000 views. After the success of this particular beat, someone hit him up to buy it, and this surprised him as he didn't really know that you could lease beats for real. Ant said that the only type of leases he knew of were cars and stuff like that. Shortly after, somebody bought the exclusive lease of the same beat for $200, and this sent Ant into shock. This motivated him and let him know that he could really make some money off of this. While being deployed and traveling on boats with no internet connection, Ant would download type beats and music to give himself inspiration. This is where he would teach himself music theory. He learned how to play the piano a little and gained a lot of knowledge within the music world through some books. While Ant was working in the kitchen for a couple months during his time in the military, he says he kept getting yelled at by his bosses and was having an overall bad day. He knew he couldn't fight back, so he decided to just go home. At this time, it was a Metro Boomin video that really made him start to take it seriously. One of Ant's first work was an album that he made with his friend Drip. They would hit the studios together in the military, and he would play a significant role in Ant's decision to drop the military. Overall, the factor that really made Ant give it up was when he was signing the contract for one of his first records, Boss Life, while he was in the middle of the ocean. He knew that it was time for him to get out and go full-time in producing. After getting out and getting some placements, he would go out most nights and party a lot. Ant would go from studio to studio and said that he didn't really have a consistent income, which was a problem for him. This is when he told himself that he was going to be on YouTube all during 2019 in order to run it up and make some more money. He realized that chasing placements was pretty hard and complicated, especially through the email route, so he decided to go with the YouTube and online route. He knew how many bangers were being made off of YouTube and that artists even pulled beats off YouTube up during their sessions. After getting out of the military for good, he was dropping videos on YouTube pretty consistently, but they weren't really doing too well. He says that they would get a couple hundred views at best. It would be Drum Dummy, a producer who told Ant he makes 6 figures off of selling beats, that he should stick to one artist, instead of uploading beats with different artist names in the title. From here, Ant downloaded vidIQ, which is an online tool that offers analytics on YouTube growth, and in simpler terms, it kind of just tells you what's really poppin'. Ant would go on to look up G Herbo on vidIQ, and this told him that this type beat would have low competition but a high search value. From here, Ant would start dropping G Herbo type beats, often 2 a day, all the way until he hit 10,000 subscribers. He used Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, and other platforms to push traffic to his channel. It would get to a point where the people in Chicago really rocked with him and would even call him the G Herbo man. They would bump his beats all the time and people would freestyle to them in schools and whatnot. Ant says that you could take over from wherever you are, you just have to be consistent and find a lane. So at this time, Ant was still in school, but he told himself that the first time he would make over $2,000 in a month from selling beats, he would quit school. And of course, this would happen shortly after YouTube approved him for AdSense, and he would quit school. Around this time, Roddy Ricch was getting ready to drop his album. Because of this, Ant would start to upload his tight beats and he saw an instant jump in his sales. From this time on, every Roddy beat that he would put up would sell well, and he would end up making over $20,000 in a month from just uploading beats on YouTube. That's crazy as fuck. At this time, his channel was really going crazy with videos doing hundreds of thousands of views, making a lot of money, and overall just doing big numbers all around. To this day, he still uploads videos all the time, but also realizes that it's important to live life, go out sometimes, and have fun. Ant talks about times where his channel wasn't going as crazy, and his videos would get 3,000 to 5,000 views instead of 50 or 100,000. But he speaks on being able to just keep going and keep pushing because although views were lower, sales were still coming in. By being able to run up money and YouTube on BeatStars, obviously this would bring in a lot of placements for Ant. At the time of this recording, some of Ant's top songs include Frozen by Lil Baby, Love Cycle by Tusi and Summer Walker, and songs with other artists including YFN Lucci, King Von, Lil Durk, Lotto, and more. He even got his first sync placement in Netflix's show On My Block, which I personally watched before I knew that, so that's kind of fire. He talks about how these type of placements pay really well, so maybe some of y'all should tap in with sync placements. Alright, so is that time of the video where I show you guys this pop quiz that I had with Ant in the DMs, so here we go. So, you know, I hit him, I was like, yo, he said, yo. First question had to go-to studio snack. He said chocolate chip cookies or hot Cheetos. Then I said, favorite day in your workout schedule. He said back and shoulders. And then I asked, what's an artist you want to work with that you haven't yet? And he said Future. And then I asked him what his dream whip was. He said Lamborghini. That's kind of boring. And then I asked him what the meaning was behind 100 points / the motivation for the name and how he came up with it. Ant says, honestly, was a big Chief Keef fan. My name on Twitter was Ant Chamberlain because of Sosa Chamberlain. My boy was freestyling and said, Ant Chamberlain, that's 100 points, and thought of Will. The creation of it was random as hell, TBH. And I said, that's hard. Go-to drink at the club. And he said, he likes really any tequila, but Casamigos if it's a bottle. And I said, feel it, of course, duh. Anyways, nowadays, he spends a lot of time playing 2K despite cooking up and hitting studios. Ant says one of the best ways to lock in with him is by being able to play well with him in 2K, and then he'll for sure take your loops. While learning how to make beats and crafting his sound during his time in the military, Ant was able to become one of the top producers on YouTube and a pioneer in the beat selling game. At the time of this recording, Ant Chamberlain is now 2 times platinum with over 88,000 subscribers on YouTube, 37,000 followers on Instagram, running his own beat camps to help upcoming producers, and is racking up placements both in the rap game and in other places like NBA 2K and Netflix TV shows. I think it's safe to say that Ant has one of the more inspiring stories as a producer and is something we can all tap in with for inspiration and tips to make some money.